Okay, so hopefully this is going to work okay. YouTube, I want to go to my channel, and should be live streaming, and it looks like there it is. Okay, so now we're live streaming it. Okay, so here's what we did. I definitely feel like I'm back on track here a little bit. I'm going to mute the audio here. So, okay, I feel I made some mistakes organizationally, and what I've done is I've realized, you know, if you're going to do this stuff in Blender, you might as well use the sort of the Blender parenting and layers and the organizational tools that are available. If I had it to do over, I probably wouldn't even redraw these frames. I would have drawn the super wide view and just parented it to an object and then blew it up for the more close-up shots, or just done a camera move. But that's okay. But what I realize for sure is at this point is how important it is to really organize your work into layers and deal with parenting and stuff so that you can have predictable results with you know, once you wind up with multiple layers of stuff all piling on top of each other. So with that in mind, I created a layer called Akari, Monastery Wall, and Ninjas. So the basic idea is that things that are all operating on the same plane or together as a unit belong in the same layer. So now what I'm going to do is I actually put some markers in here because I can see that this is where I cut to the ninjas, and this is where I cut back to Akari. So what I'm going to do is, hopefully this will work out fine, is just grab these keyframes that are all in the Akari layer and move these down to the ninja layer. Okay, and okay, that's kind of unfortunate. Okay, it appears that I can't do that. Wow. Okay, that's kind of shocking. So we've learned here. Just whoever's watching, I don't know, it might be me watching, because I might be detecting myself watching because I have the window open so I can see what's going on with YouTube. But I'm gonna say that probably I'm gonna not be live streaming a lot. I think I'm gonna stick with creating videos and uploading them because A, managing the live streaming has become, it's clearly very time consuming, keeps me from actually getting real work done, and plus it seems like every time I start live streaming, within 2 minutes I run into some intractable problem that I have to sit here and go while you guys watch me look like an idiot. So this is definitely weird. So what we've learned here today is that one thing Blender doesn't allow you to do seems like it would be the most obvious thing to be able to do. Maybe if we hit the M key, no, M key here creates a marker. See, if I'm up here and I hit the, wait, let me think here. If I actually had, okay, let's go into edit strokes mode. If I were to select these points and hit the M key, I can move them into a different layer. The problem is, what I found before I started live streaming is if I move them one at a time, I'm going to wind up, I'm pretty sure, with all these points piled on top of each other. What I mean is, like right here, so I'll grab these and move them to the ninjas layer, okay? No problem. Now, why this keyframe is still here, I'm not sure. because it didn't copy them. So that's interesting. So this layer still has a keyframe, even though I'm... Okay, that makes sense. It's got a keyframe, but there don't happen to be any strokes there. That's okay. Okay, so now this is the thing I was concerned about. If I go here and do the same thing, now I've grabbed all those strokes, including the ones that are in the Ninja layer, which means effectively to do this, I would have to lock the Ninja layer. But if I move those strokes into the Ninja layer, which I'm glad it lets me do it even though the layer is locked, I don't think this is going to be the result I'm after, but let's find out. Maybe it is. Okay, it looks like it is. Okay, so in that case, that's good news. The bad news is we have to do this one at a time. So it's going to take a few minutes, but at least we can do it. So I'm going to do what I did before. I'm going to lock the Ninja layer. Go grab these, move them to here. Go forward, select, move them to here. Go forward, select, move them to here. And I think later we'll deal with maybe the idea that, frankly, the ninjas lock the monastery wall layer, so I cannot accidentally move some strokes that I didn't want to move from the wrong layer. So let's move that to there, and I'll move to there, I'll move to there, I'll move to there, and on we go. Yep, that's working. Gosh, I wish we could drag and drop them from the in the dope sheet. That would be so much easier. It's very strange though. It seems like it's... Anyway, we'll keep going. Once this is done, we'll be able to get back to work. So, I've kind of alluded to this several times, but I really want to emphasize I've never done an animation project of any kind where this did not happen. Ever. There's always something that winds up having to be and I'm not saying that's, you know, that's not an animation thing. That might be a me thing, you know, where I just don't plan as well as I should. It's very possible. So I'm going to take this frame, and what I want to do is go to here, and in the ninjas, remember we learned the hotkey DB, so that's cool. So that got rid of that. So now, good. So now we got Akari here, wide shot, and then what we need to do is go back one keyframe, and then just go back one frame and insert a key. Okay. You got to have your mouse over the 3D view. Okay, so that worked. Good. Okay, so now it does appear that I deleted the drawing of the wall, but that's okay. That won't take very long to fix. So Akari's here, and once we get to here, Akari, we would want to insert a keyframe there. So now we have this. Okay, and then at this frame, the way I decided to do this, I'm going to go to the monastery wall, and let's go ahead and just draw this in here. Actually, let's see. I really need to do it here. Okay, so using this as reference, we know that, and this is the monastery wall. This is not in the Akari layer. Okay, let's just double check that. That's good. Okay, I don't like that. It's just got the slightest angle on it. Okay, and then this is not quite right. Okay. What I'm doing is I'm gonna want it to be just a slight angle there. Not nearly as much perspective as we saw before. Okay, that looks cool. Alright, now here we've got, we can see the inside of the wall. So let's go ahead and zoom in here. And that's really not quite acceptable, is it? So I'm gonna, and that's not gonna do me much good either, so that's alright. Okay. So there's going to be some decorative stuff up top here. And okay, so I think what I'll do is going back here. Just really doing a lot of figuring out organizationally how I want to structure this stuff in real time. Link that. Okay, so this really wants to be moved to the monastery wall layer. And I guess pretty obviously this would too. Okay, so now we're going to probably run into some conflict here. I guess not. Okay, so then you say, well, what about this overlap? Well, actually, true enough. Let's go ahead and delete that keyframe. Okay, so now what I wanted to talk about is I actually think everything's pretty well organized at this point. I was going to parent these grease pencil layers to empties, but I realized if I turn on only render, you cannot see the empties. The empties are hidden. So what I decided to do is I'm going to use text objects, and in this case, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Akari and parent it to the layer. Okay, that's not right. Let's change the name. Let's go to its properties. Okay. And obviously we could have gone like this and just like that. But so now by parenting it to that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert I'm just going to insert location, rotation, scale, just so we've got them all. Alright, and then here we're going to G, Z key, and we're just going to go up, because that's about where we want to land. Okay, with the exception to that being in object mode, let's see, we want the, yeah, we want to close that up so we just have this object. So what we actually want to do is duplicate this to about there, so we've got that shot, and then it moves up, and then we have the ninjas. So actually, now that we've got that motion in there, the keyframe that hides them is no longer needed. Or at least, I should say, actually it is needed, but it needs to be down here somewhere. So I would say actually there. That needs to be there. Okay, and the Akari frame, same thing. So now that's what we wanted. We wanted to have that pause, everything goes up, the guys climb up, and they're dinking around the wall, and happily everything is back on track. And as you will notice, we have a lot less keyframes. Okay, so this is definitely better organized. We can actually work with this. So I think I'm going to actually stop there. The takeaway here today is that if you're going to do this stuff in Blender, you want to be thinking about parenting and how you're organizing your assets into layers and what controls what. You want to plan that as early as possible. You want to be thinking about what that's going to look like. Now, I notice here I've got a little glitch here because there's a keyframe from the monastery wall, but since you know, scale it up and literally save myself instead of drawing 3 poses. Now, admittedly, this is a slightly different pose in this one, so it's not a wasted effort. But the great thing is that now I can bake animation into these grease pencil layers, but this parenting relationship will be preserved. And the other thing I can do is, if I really wanted to work more with this shot, for example, you know, this whole thing of her breathing, you know, because she's sleeping, and I really, while I'm animating those keyframes, I really don't want this going on, right? So that's where you just unparent it. Just hit this little X right here, kill the parenting relationship, get the animation right, and then just reconnect them, and everything is fine. So now, having said this, maybe I won't stop. Maybe we'll move forward just because we can. I'm not going to do any more detail on the rock wall. Sorry about bumping the microphone right there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and take the sketch layer and just kind of make it light. I want to be in the ninjas layer. Okay. And now, after something like 3 hours of messing around, believe it or not, I actually can get back to drawing. So we've got ink, and we've got the ninja layer. And I want to make sure I'm using the right brush. Yes, I want super smooth ink. So super smooth ink gives me nice smoothing, but the other day I added pressure sensitivity to the sensitivity and strength of it, so that at least I can still get some, like these light lines, you know, if I want to add some more delicate character to my drawings, I can. Now this might be wrong. I might want to go back here and look. If we go to this shot, you can see up here, this is the camera view up here. Yes. Yeah, I mean his ear is pretty much visible. However, actually, there is a mistake. Yeah, see, I was thinking I had changed something. Okay, stop. Control Z. Hello. We need to lock the sketch, because if I don't lock the sketch, then if I go and make a change here and erase something, I'll accidentally erase the sketch as well, which is not what I want to do. So so yeah, this is kind of important. If we go to these shots here, we see that his ponytail is up here. So he's got this headband, he's got a mask over his mouth and nose, his ear is exposed, but his hair is pretty much contained on the top part of his skull, and his ponytail is like here. So hence this drawing is really completely wrong. I'm not sure what this mess is here. I'm going to go ahead and erase this scribble. Okay. So boy, I'm not sure I like this. Okay, and that's going to wind up actually being erased anyway, because yes, I see what the problem is. I'm going to turn this back on and turn it back up. Before the problem is I'm trying to ink it, having not drawn it. So I'm trying to make creative decisions at the inking stage that absolutely should be made at the pencil drawing stage. So I'm just gonna go back to my sketch brush, and let's get this right. Okay, that did not change. I hit the 1 key. Hello, hello. Why are my keys not working? That's pretty weird. It's changing layers. And I know why, because I am not in edit strokes mode. Okay, so now I hit the 1 key. You gotta pay attention to everything. Otherwise, there's stuff going on and you have no idea what just happened. Okay. D. Okay, I'm actually gonna erase the ink lines and everything. Okay, so I can go in and resketch this guy. There, that's better. Way better. Now I'm talking like Bob Ross. I've become Bob Ross today. Okay. And okay. Yeah, so he has the hair on the side of his head. Okay. Yeah, that actually looks pretty good. So, I actually feel like I want to apologize today for just wasting so much time, trying to solve dumb problems, instead of what you're probably here to see is what I'm doing now, Okay, so his hair is pulled back like that, and then he has this mask around the back of his head, and then he also has this band. Okay, so I'm gonna have to make this really small. Okay, I don't like the way that iris is looking. Okay, let's just get the structure here. be something like that. That's better. Okay, so he's got this band here. And he has this mask here. Admittedly, it is not exactly crystal clear. Okay, wait a second. What is that? That doesn't belong there. Now, we can get away with quite a bit because it's such a wide shot, admittedly. And it doesn't last very long. It's actually, let's go ahead and play this once and see what the timing is. Should be using my mouse right now. Whenever I'm actually just sort of navigating around and okay. Yeah, okay. That's fine. Okay, so I think what we'll do is we'll leave the camera view alone and then just zoom in here. Okay. I guess if I turn on only render, that works now. Generally speaking, that's what I want, because, and that's again why I'm using a text object for my parenting, because I really, most of the time, do not care to see the grid. It just makes it harder to draw. Oops, I'm hitting the G key when I meant to be hitting the D key. Okay, so that's cool. Okay, and this is cool because I can just switch back to camera view very quickly to see how things are getting framed up. So, and then when I'm in the front view, I can hit the 9 key, and you can, golly man, you can really see how screwed up this is. Pretty crazy. So I don't mind sort of tightening things up, especially like line quality and all that sort of stuff at the inking stage, but I don't want to be making decisions about costuming. I don't want to be making decisions about the details. When I'm inking, what I really want to do is just rapidly slam through and get that ink in there. It's not as creative as of a process. It's more of grunt work, and the grunt work is fun, but when I switch into more of a creative decision making mode, I just want that looser kind of I want to just be able to sketch it and find it, you might say. Find my composition, find my costume. Like right there, I can tell the angle on his neck is really wrong. Okay, and then actually he's got this costume thing going on which would cause the clothing to billow out just a little bit. Now his clothes aren't going to be too loose. I mean, he is a ninja, and okay, so now if we go to the camera view, we can see that a lot of what I just drew isn't even in the picture, so that's okay. It never hurts to take the time to get it figured out and get it right. And that's the part that's fun. What isn't fun is kind of what I've dealt with most of the day today, which is technical problems. This is what I would call technical problems. You're dealing with, you've got to do something that you don't quite know how to do. You don't know your hotkeys or whatever. Okay, so this is actually a glove. Now, because this is such a wide shot, we definitely do not need to be very concerned about details here. So I'm just going to sketchy block this in and call it good, because this is what the camera sees. I mean, come on, that's a really wide shot. Actually, I'm going to change my mind. I think it does matter. Let's go to the big eraser again. Let's redo this. I'm not really happy with that. Let me block in the structure of the hand. Okay. And treat it as a sort of a unit like that. It always is good to know the overall volume of the stuff you're trying to draw, how it all kind of goes together as a unit. That I think probably makes a lot more sense. Yes, it does. That looks much better. Okay, now bearing in mind we don't want to suggest too much angle. In fact, I'm going to erase these lines because I really had too much perspective, or too much of a turn of the wall baked into my earlier iterations of this. So frankly, that wall really should be part of the Macari's layers, but so I'm going to take that out. You know, I mean, look at the other ninja. I didn't draw him in at all. So this is a great example of where drawing it over and over in a bunch of different frames always turns out to have been a complete waste of time. Okay, cool. I'm just cleaning up. Okay. Well, I guess we want to leave the camera here and then switch to the front view. Okay, cool. It's just as things get clearer, I want to go in and just make them the way they're actually supposed to be, instead of leaving it super sketchy. So that's kind of what I was talking about the other day, is because it's like there's a pretty smooth transition from pencils to inks in my mind by things like this happening, where I'm just like saying, well, I know what that line is supposed to be now, so let's just tighten it up and make it good, right? Why leave it vague and sketchy if the decision has been made? And by doing it that way, later, this blue pencil could probably just be, all the strokes could be moved over to the ink layer and it will look fine, and we can use that for our ink. So we're really combining the ink and pencil process into a single step right now. And what I just am finding that that's a lot more intuitive and fun way to work. So that's just my preference. Instead of thinking of it as you've got a sketch and you're inking over top of it, it's more like you've got a sketch, now let's just refine it until what's left is, you know, reasonably qualifies as good ink lines. So that's what I'm doing right now. Sounds like my son is up. Oh, it's Valerie. Hey, Val. So we definitely have a history. But what I learned today was, you know, when you're working in Blender, you really want to be thinking about layers and parenting early in the process, because I can totally see where over the last couple days it would have saved me a fair amount of work to have sort of gotten things organized sooner instead of sort of doing everything in the same layer. I mean, it's probably pretty obvious, but I don't know, live and learn. Live and learn, baby. Okay, so here I don't really want... Yeah, nobody's watching. And like I said, I think I'm going to move away from live streaming back to just creating videos and uploading them. Seems to be less issue prone. Yeah, that looks good. See what I mean? This is nice. I'm actually inking while I'm penciling. And I guess that's what I've been trying to say is kind of what I really want to be doing. Because it's a double win. On the one hand, it's more fun, and on the other hand, I think the results are better. And I like this is kind of the quality of the ink I've been wanting to get, is sort of this sketched. I was using the super smooth ink there. If you've been watching at all, you know I talked yesterday about, I think it was yesterday, about using the super smooth ink but then adding pressure sensitivity, and that did help. But frankly, what I'm doing here, just using my sketch brush, I like the results better. And if the lines are a little shaky, I can just hit it with the smooth tool and smooth them out a bit. So that's nice. I mean, that's some nice ink lines right there. I definitely like that better. So I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. So we want to move away from, and by the way, I'm going to smooth this right here. Yeah. Okay. So we want to move away from the letting the sketch lines all pile up on themselves. Blender doesn't do super well with that. So that would be, what I mean by that is what you see here. Okay, and I'm going to flip this. Okay, so what I really should be doing here is going, just kill that, kill that. And so even though I'm still blue lining it, this is not wasted effort, because these lines are pretty much all going to turn into ink later. So definitely I like the looks of it, and I like the workflow of it. I don't know if you guys have watched very much, you know I don't really like having to do the same thing twice. Yeah, it definitely gets on my nerves a bit. That feels pretty good to me. So then you see that right here, I'm gonna just draw a shaky line and smooth it. Yep. And because this is fairly small at the paint stage, there's probably going to have to definitely be some hand painting going on, hand brushing I should say, as opposed to just doing flood fills. Yeah, I definitely like that result better. So I'm finding that drawing a fairly shaky line and then just hitting it with the smoothing tool seems to be a good way to work. Oops. Yeah, we're at 42 minutes on this particular live stream. I'm glad I'm back on track a little bit. Okay, and this could definitely use a little bit of smoothing. Same here. Okay, that ear looks completely goofy. And I think part of that is because it's not just the ear, you're actually also seeing the cheekbone. Well, let's figure it out. From the rear, I think that'll probably be okay. That looks pretty good. Oh, you got a real mess down here. Again, I'm going to take the slappiness of that and try to just clean it up with the smoothing tool. Okay, that looks pretty good. Let's go back here and check it on the camera view. Okay. Whoops. I'm zooming in on my camera view. That's really not what I want to do. I really want to go to this view. Okay, so we got a major flaw here in that this should be here. And in my opinion, it should stick up above his head. So, alright, and now he also had this I'm not going to worry about that because it actually falls below the camera. The camera won't see it. But, okay. And I want to check this from the camera view. Okay, so basically the bottom of his leg is not visible either, so we're pretty safe to just get that in there. Good to go. Apparently he has a little tool pack or something right here. Slight smoothing on that. Kill that. Let's get that as a nice clean line. Okay, I can see why that happened. I'm going to just draw a curve and just smack it with the smoothing tool. Just a little tiny kiss there. Okay, so same thing here. Alright. So what we've got is boom. Boom. And then we've got these. This is where the smoothing tool should be pretty handy. I'm going to Just draw these. And it's just the nature of the beast that they're going to be a little bit shaky. So one quick swipe with the smoothing tool seems to take care of that. So okay, let's go to the camera view. Yeah, see how, look how clean that is. That's really nice. Really, really nice. Okay, so his trousers, he's got this area that's wrapped around his waist. I'm not actually redraw stuff over and over. It can be kind of helpful. And I'm just going to keep deleting the sketch lines and replacing them with real lines fast as I can.